Howdy.
Hi.
New video. Going to title it Fresh versus Frozen. I told you the last time that we were going to talk a little bit about this. It's going to be relatively short, I hope. Real quick update. I hit 60 days today. And I am down 45.7 pounds in 60 days. That equates to about 3% BMI, give or take.
Yeah, I'm still down 25 pounds. My weight has been fluctuating like crazy between 143 and 146, give or take. It's a little frustrating, I'm not going to lie. I haven't really posted a lot about it, so keeping my fingers crossed.
She's been in a little bit of a funk about it, to be quite honest, and we haven't decided, and if anybody has any ideas, by all means contact us and let us know, but we really haven't decided what it is that we're not dialing in just right so that she's losing weight more rapidly.
Again, I personally think, knowing my body, I guess after, 45 years, I should know it, right? I really think it's, anyway, I really think it's lack of exercise. I try to motivate myself. I'm having a very hard time with that. And I kind of went over some of my calories the last few days because I've been starving. So, but actually no, I guess it was earlier last week I did that, wasn't it? Yeah, we were working. So that makes it super easy to stick to your calories when half your day is gone. So,
yeah. Or you can do like I do and have a 2,000 calorie meal when you get home. And
I actually did under 800 or around 800 for my calories, which my calories are at 1,000 per day right now. So anyway, heading towards fresh versus frozen. We talked about this a little bit last time about vegetables. Whether or not buying fresh or frozen was more advantageous, but what it really boils down to is preference. There are advantages and disadvantages to having fresh vegetables. Vegetables, when picked, start to immediately lose their nutrients. From the time that they're picked to the time that they're brought to the shelf, they're losing nutrients by the hour. Oxidation is setting in, and there's just no good way of being able to preserve fresh vegetables. To begin with, let's talk about vegetables and carbs. On a keto diet, the general gist of things is to try and get your carbs from fresh food sources like fruits and vegetables. Now, a lot of fruits and vegetables wind up not on the list because they have too many carbs. The one saving grace to a lot of the vegetables is that along with carbs come dietary fiber in the vegetables. Which is beneficial for those of you who go by your net carbs. We actually recently just started going by our total carb, which makes it really, really difficult.
You don't get very many when you're doing total. But given what it is, I get 21 grams a day of total carbs, so
I get 12.
Yeah, that allows it. I had a cup of coleslaw today for lunch, and that ate up my carbs.
It was a generous cup.
Oh yeah, it was a big cup, but but that pretty much ate up my carbs. So now I have to have butter for dinner.
Right out the wrapper.
The difference is you can, if you're counting carbs, you can just count your net carbs, and your net carbs are just your number of carbohydrates minus the amount of dietary fiber in those carbohydrates. So if you're eating vegetables, and let's say you have 30 grams of carbohydrates in the vegetables that you've eaten, but 14 grams of that 30 was dietary fiber, technically you only have 16 grams of net carbohydrates. Total carbohydrates is what you have totally, minus the fiber equals the net carbohydrates. And you can do your macros on either one. Neither one is bad, neither one is wrong.
There are even
some doctors who say don't count your vegetables at all.
If you want a true representation, look, here we go again. We are very obsessive about what we're doing as far as the keto diet goes. So we're counting just about everything to include calories and restricting calories to try and make our goals a little faster than what the average person might need to. On the keto diet,
without doing any exercise.
Yeah, without doing any exercise. On the keto diet, if you watch and cut your carbs, you can, macros are important, but without really getting crazy over it, you can just cut out carbs, try to eat more fat than protein, and between those three sections, you're going to find yourself losing weight, becoming fat adapted, and burning fat as a fuel, enabling you to have higher energy levels and lower body fat. So that being said, you get your carbohydrates from raw foods like vegetables and fruits. It makes it a lot easier on you the whole way around. The keto diet, pretty much, you have to kind of ban any refined carbohydrates, any flours and sugars and grains and things like that. You try and keep away from those as much as possible.
Which, once you start doing that, you really won't want them back. When you see how they affect your overall diet and just your overall well-being, it's amazing to me the change in us. Even with me not losing any weight, and yes, I may have lost interest, but I haven't even done my measurements in 2 weeks. So, because again, we've been working. The being able to wake up in the morning at a decent hour, get a bunch of stuff done, where we've been mostly sedentary, is a nice change. We actually chose to go for a walk last night, at least until we rounded the corner of the neighborhood, and it was freezing.
The wind hit us.
But we are not. We're lazy.
We're old.
We're not that old.
We are. We went mall walking today.
Yeah, we did. There was a guy walking around with a what are those things called? Not a scooter thingy, but
it's a brace, one of them.
Yeah.
Wheelie jobs.
So, us and him. Anyway.
So again, getting your carbohydrates from vegetables. There are tons of vegetables out there that have relatively low carbohydrates, relatively low total carbohydrates, because there's also dietary fiber contained in most of those that will actually offset and make your net carbs even lower.
Cauliflower is a big one. We eat a lot of cauliflower.
We eat a ton of cauliflower, and that's actually on the higher total carb side of the. I have a list here. It's spinach, baby bella mushrooms, and green beans all only have 1 gram of carbohydrates total. Romaine lettuce has 2 grams. Cabbage has 3 grams. Cauliflower and broccoli have 4 grams. I put berries on this list only because they're about the only real fruit that you can kind of do and keep yourself in the keto range. Fruit has a lot of sugars in them, a lot of natural sugars, but nonetheless sugars and carbohydrates that put you in a bad place if you're getting carbs from other areas. But berries like raspberries and blackberries contain about 5 grams of total carbohydrates, and that is very doable, especially with a low cal whip topping or something like that. Instant dessert, man, sweet, good. It's
or
just
a
good way.
Make your own. That's actually a better way to go about it.
Make your own whip topping is what you're talking about. You can't make your own berries sometimes.
You can grow them in the yard. We have some that grow in the yard. I'm just saying. Anyway, and his next one was onions, which is 7 grams, but more bang for your buck. A lot of people use onions in everything. I have been using spring onions in everything.
The onions that I'm talking about are yellow onions. The big yellow onions are normally about 7 grams of carbs per serving, and I think a serving is like a cup of chopped onions.
For me, I do a lot of spring onions. It has less carbs, a lot more flavor, and you can use a lot more. So it's a more mellow taste to it. It won't work with every dish, but it does work with a lot. And they're relatively inexpensive. I mean, not compared to like a bag of onions, but it's not bad. I like them.
Now, kind of onto the debate about fresh versus frozen. With fresh vegetables, there's two types of vegetables, and they kind of fall into two different classes. One is the vegetables that have vitamins B and C. The vitamins B and C are water soluble vitamins.
What does that mean?
That means that the more water you put to them, the less vitamin you're going to get out of the product. If you boil them or you steam them, you tend to destroy the nutrient value that's actually in them. So, I mean, if you're looking for your nutrients coming strictly from vegetables, you're not taking multivitamins or anything like that, you're going to have to watch. And, a quick list of the B and C vegetables are cabbage, Brussels sprouts, kale, and cauliflower. Those are the ones, and I mean, unfortunately, everybody boils or steams all of those. They're just not that great
Saute
raw.
or roast them. So, except for kale, I refuse to eat that.
The downfall to fresh vegetables, like I said before, is that from the moment that they're picked from the plant, they start to lose their nutrients. So if you're doing grocery store vegetables, you're going to wind up with less nutrient dense vegetables. If you can find a farmer's market or something close, or grow your own, you'll actually have more vitamin content
in your
vegetables after you cook them. On the frozen vegetable side, what happens is the flash freezing process actually stops stops a lot of the nutrient loss. So when it comes right down to it, you can pick either one, and unfortunately there's no one better than the other because of the different methods of controlling the nutrients. When you flash freeze the water-soluble vitamin B and C vegetables, like I said, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, kale, cauliflower, you tend to damage some of the nutrient content because the flash freezing process does involve water and actually kind of infuses the vegetables with, trace amounts of H2O. It does help to preserve some of the nutrients, but on the vitamin B and C type water-soluble vitamins, it can decrease. On the other hand, vitamin A and vitamin E are more fat-soluble, meaning that the water doesn't really affect their nutrient content. So when they flash freeze those, like spinach, broccoli, and squash, they tend to retain a lot more of their vegetables. And on their vitamins, I'm sorry. And on the flip side, vegetables like broccoli, which are an exception to the rule, boiling or steaming broccoli itself and one or two other types of vegetables actually increase the antioxidant levels in that vegetable. So, I mean, you may not be getting the nutrient base that you're wanting, but they become higher in antioxidants, which helps, alleviate free radicals and, just keeps you a little healthier all the way around. The best cooking method, according to all of the research that I've done, is low heat, short time. Meaning that, the least amount of boiling, steaming, or sauteing that you can do to a vegetable, the better. The more raw you can eat it, the more nutrient value you're going to get in that vegetable.
That being said, there are options out there that you can do, that you can even make for yourself at home. And like he said, he had coleslaw today. I mean, that's fresh raw cabbage.
Right.
There's such a thing as broccoli slaw and Brussels sprout slaw, even, where you shred those up, and you can even do them yourself. Yes, it's probably more of a pain in the butt, but you can buy those pre-done in the grocery store, and they're fantastic. You can throw them with different types of dressings that are keto friendly, or just some olive oil and salt and pepper, and and it's really good. Or even just throw it in with your meat the last couple of minutes of cooking, and that.
Do the best you can with it. I mean, eating them a little more raw is going to give you more nutrient content.
It gives you something back that you kind of lost with the ketogenic diet, which for me, I find is crunch. Yeah. That's my biggest thing. I'm constantly snacking on nuts because I miss food that has crunch to it. So
that's the general gist of the fresh versus frozen debate as far as I'm concerned. If you have any questions or any comments, I'm always
or
here to
any
learn.
counter information. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
by all
always
means.
willing to,
You
listen.
can contact us at ketocouplesjourney@gmail.com or on our website or Instagram or Facebook and our new Facebook group, Ketogenic Journey. Any of those places, we're very reachable. We're open to any suggestions, comments, quotes,
Concerns.
concerns.
Any issues that you might be having.
We're just, again, we're trying to document our journey so that, the lay person that is just starting out or just wanting to do something has some idea of how this goes. Next time around, next week, I'll post a couple of pictures and show you exactly what this thing is doing for me, because I'm not pretty yet, so don't expect 6-packs abs or anything, but the difference in my measurements is
insane.
very noticeable. So I'll post those in the video, and you can gross out with everybody else. So having said all that,
It's still impressive.
having said all that, we'll catch you guys in a week or so. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.